Hi, welcome to Bright Hope Creations. I'm Kara, and today we're starting a series on a Christmas bakery, and we're starting with how I stamped out my scene. So I like to take the different images, stamp them out, and cut them out, and then I can play around with where I want them on my card. And this card is a slimline card, so it's 8.5 by 3.5 inches. And I'm just taking all the different little guys and putting them around where I think they should be. Now, the one I'm using a mask instead of the image because that little singer, the caroler, is from an image that has 3 carolers on it. So I just didn't want to cut that one away from the others. But now I lay down my stamp right over where I kind of want it. And I put down a piece of acetate so I can stamp it out and not stamp it right on my paper yet until I'm happy with where it's going to be. And that one was fine where it was, so I just inked it up, and now I'm stamping it down. I'll place his squirrel friend next to him and pick that up. So I'm using a clear mounting stamp in my MISTI, and then it picks up the rubber stamp just great. So I just put it on there, and I'm putting down that acetate again to make sure I liked it. I did. I moved it around a little, and there it is. Now you can see off to the side I created little masks for some of the images because they're going to be in front of other things. And so front first, you always stamp what you want in front first, and then mask it, and then stamp what's back behind them. And in this case, it's this Christmas tree. Again, I'm using that acetate to make sure I like where it is, and I was happy with it. So I can just stamp it down. It doesn't take much just to stamp it out on some acetate, make sure I like it first. I can take off these masks now, and now I have these guys in front of the tree so they fit nice on my slimline card, and also they're just in a great position for decorating that tree. And I moved my mounting stamp up above to stamp my upper images, and you can see that that clear stamp, it really is just a stamp, and it moves around just like any stamp on the MISTI door. And now I've got this little mailman, and I'm gonna stamp him on that acetate, decide where I want him. I decide by picking up my paper to position him where I want, and then if I put that acetate right back in the corner where it was, it'll stamp right where I want it on my paper. So my paper can be a little wonky as long as that acetate is straight in the corner. So ink that up and stamp it down. Now rubber stamps just stamp beautifully, so I really don't have to work at stamping them over and over, but if I did need to, it's easy enough because it's in the MISTI, and that stamp isn't going anywhere when it's on that clear mounting stamp. All right, get that acetate back out. That's like my buddy here today. Put that down and then stamp up my little caroler and decide where he's going to go. Now, this time my acetate isn't in the corner, but I'm making note of where it is on the grid lines in the background so I can put it back right where I had it before. When I stamp on the acetate, I like to stamp with Memento ink because it wipes off really easily. But then when I stamp on my paper, I usually use Lawn Fawn's Jet Black ink. It's Copic friendly and it stamps nice and crisp. So there it is. He's stamped down. And these masks are just sticky notes. So 3M Post-it notes that have a full sticky back on them. And I know that Lawn Fawn carries this in their store too. But here they are. I'm putting those masks over my little characters and putting on whatever's next. Well, I'm putting that lamppost and that mailbox down again, but this time with the masks just to kind of decide where they're going to be And then I can kind of place my stamps over that. Make sure I take off the mask before I stamp it on my paper. But I'm checking it out with the acetate. Yep, it's kind of over where I want that, where I put that mask, but I'm shifting it just a little bit. And now when I put it down, I can just stamp it right out, and I know that it'll be right where I want it. Now, these images are from Purple Onion Designs, and they are illustrated by Stacey Yacula. They are in the winter release for 2020 that came out in October. If you're here in October, or November, you'll know that because it was late October when they came out. But they're from the collection called The Sweetest Little Town, and it really is quite a sweet little town. And it's kind of that idea of the Christmas time hustle and bustle in the town square type feel. So that's what I'm going to do on this card, is give that feel, I hope, to these images, like that hustle and bustle in the Christmas town square. And there'll be the bakery behind. So I have to mask all my images so that I can get that bakery behind there. And so just getting those images masked up and deciding where to put that bakery. So I'm just going to shift down my paper a little bit and put that bakery where I think it's going to be. And then one nice thing about this clear mounting stamp is I can just place it on my rubber stamp and pick them both up with the door. I'll put down that acetate so that I can tell where I want it. I'll shift it down so that it is at the same place as my stamp, and then ink that up. And I'm making note again of where that is on my grid line so I can put that acetate right back where it was. I can take the whole thing up and shift it all around. And that's the nice thing about the acetate, because I don't lose my place here by doing that. So pick it all up. It's not a problem as long as you put that acetate back where it was in the beginning. And I'm liking where that is, and you can see how cockeyed my paper is to get that town right where I want. So that's me wiping off the acetate, and I'm just putting a little piece of scratch paper behind so that when it stamps out, it's not stamping over my grid lines. Not a big deal, but it kind of saves my backing papers in the MISTI a little bit. Inking that up and stamping it down, and I want to really press it down where I have those masks so that it doesn't miss out those areas where the edges of those masks are. So really push it down there, and this is all stamped up. Now it's just time for the final reveal. Take off those masks, and we have our bakery scene. But now we want to put it all together so that the slim line kind of makes sense. So I'm going to create a road and sidewalk in here, and I'm using the angle of the bakery to decide how I'm going to angle that. I'm going to give like a curb there and a curb on this side of the road too. Just kind of lightly sketching that out with a pencil, and then I decide a ruler might be a little better. So kind of getting that angle just a little cleaner there, because I don't always trust my eye on that for the perspective. And it doesn't have to be perfect because, it is getting wider at the one side. So there's a little room for error, but I just wanted to get it as close as possible. So I'm putting on some straight lines there. That second line at the bottom I don't end up using, but getting the sidewalk up there by the bakery. And so the penguin and the mouse are on the parkway, so on the other side of the sidewalk and right before the street. And so now I can come in with a Copic marker. This is a very light cool gray to put in those lines, and I'm putting them above or below my pencil line because once Copic marker is over a pencil line, there's no way to erase that pencil line. So I'm just coming in and erasing as I go. So now I've connected the top and bottom of the slim line for a little town scene. All right, well, I want to put in those sidewalk lines, and they would be going around by the bakery and then down the sidewalk. And that's my scene, all stamped out and ready to be colored. So I hope you join me for the next episode, part 2, where we'll be coloring the critters. Thanks for watching. If you have any questions, please leave them in the comments below. And if you like this video, please like and subscribe to my channel. Have a great day. Bye.